Howdy guys and gals. You may or may not have seen my previous video about a 1995 Ford Probe GT. If you haven't, then no sweat, but if you have, you heard me say that I'm not a car guy. And then I walked through my car history since 2016. So, what is a non-car guy like me doing with another car project video? Well, this one is a lot more daunting because it used to look like this. This is a 1986 Ford Bronco XLT with automatic transmission. At least, this is the parts of an 86 Ford Bronco. Last summer, I left my job as a program manager at an automotive supplier to begin a job teaching electronics and construction at a local high school. I also began mentoring at the high school's motorsports team. I had been involved in small vehicle challenges before as a student and a mentor, but primarily in a technical documentation or strategy capacity. I'm not really a car guy. Most of the time, engines scare me. I use my technical documentation role to understand the theory of a part or a machine system, but in practice, the engine still eluded me. So when I joined Lafayette Jefferson High School, home of the Broncos, I thought now would be a good time to delve into turning wrenches, and there's a real connection to an existing vehicle. Also, the auto shop just happened to have this Bronco in the bullpen, so I bought it for $500 and set about putting it back together. Which, if you're going about building a car for the first time, that's not the right way. It's not the way you want to do it. The first approach should be ensuring the systems are functional. Electrical, so ignition, and fuel delivery. I was told this vehicle got parked under its own power around 3 years ago and it's been sitting there ever since, so theoretically it should have just started up. But that's not how I went about rebuilding it. To start off, I put the fenders and grille back on. I had to get those on. I didn't have a manual, and all the bolts, nuts, and screws were semi-organized in small bins, so it took a couple of tries before all the grille and headlight pieces fit together. If you're in a similar boat, I want to point out the spring that is necessary for the headlights in order to hold it in, and the order in which you screw the grille pieces together. Once again, working on plastic pieces that are 35 years old in the cold months will mean they break frequently, so take more time than I did. Also use warmer months, or a nice garage. The grille itself had several tabs missing already, without me breaking off a few more. Luckily, it stays on. After putting the top and bottom grille trim pieces and the headlights on, then I could put the grille back on. After getting the fenders put back onto the vehicle, I could attach the hood springs to the hood on either side, except I had to take them off again so that I could fit the fenders better and allow the doors to open. The Bronco was involved in a side collision, meaning the passenger side still had a little trouble. With all the body pieces back on, I had to put all the pieces in the engine bay that were taken off for fun. After getting parked 3 years ago, the graduating class wanted to turn it into a dedicated summer truck, but lost steam shortly after tearing out the dash and trim. I tried clearing out more cabin space by reassembling the trim along the truck bed and door pillar, or B-pillar. Then the grille got rounded out with its final bottom piece, aside from the bumper. Then I started putting the dash in. The dash frame was easy enough, though it seems like I can't fasten it completely without the actual dash. There are a couple through holes underneath the driver's right side of the dash plastic that need frame bolts through it. The HVAC was, and still is, a mystery to me. I feel like it's not lining up the way it should. Also, it looks like there's an HVAC motor that is missing, but all in good time, I guess. After putting the dash in, I finally got the new battery for it and tried starting it, and nothing. But when I jumped the starter motor wire to the battery, it cranks, so there was hope. I was hoping that by the end of the video I would have it running, but then I realized storytelling can take a long time if milestones like that were involved. You learn a lot, not just about putting cars together, but about video making when you put a camera on the things you're doing. So nothing electrically was working. The battery wouldn't crank the engine, so I tried making the horn work, but had trouble with that, and so I tried making the headlights work, but ran into issues there as well, even after repairing the wiring to one of the headlights. Then I took some time away from the electrical system and put the driver's seat back in before putting the drive selector in, the thing that tells the car to be rear-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, high or low. When I got back into it a few months later, I thought it was an ignition column issue. So I pulled the steering wheel, thinking there was a broken linkage arm, no dice. Then I checked the ignition switch along the column, checking resistance and springiness within the switch. And resolved that the switch was fine. There's some electrical corrosion in the steering wheel assembly, but I cleaned that up before reassembly. But in order to do all that, I had to take the entire dash back off. Luckily, I don't have all the trim screws, so I cheated putting it together in the event that it needed to come back off. Quick tip, the trim screws have Phillip heads, while frame screws have the hex heads, though they're both the same threading. The ignition switch was good, so I checked the fuse box to the horn since I was troubling that at the time. Found some corrosion in the fuse box, so I Frankensteined a new fuse connection from an old fuse box that the auto teacher had lying around. I can't really explain eloquently how I did it, but the fuse connection has a metal spring tab that needs pressed in to pop out the old one and into the new one. Then a crimp at the wire connection, but still no luck. So I thought maybe it's the starter solenoid itself. So I tested that on the table using an AC Delco video. I'll link in the description. I only realized I was doing the test wrong after buying the new solenoid. No matter. I checked voltage all along the sender switch and starter solenoid system. Then after weeks of troubleshooting, realized I had wired to the solenoid incorrectly. After correctly routing the negative wire to the battery, everything started working. Headlights. Horn. And even the ignition system. If you listen closely, the fuel pump is also priming. So this is a lot of good forward movement, and hopefully in the next video we'll get this thing actually started. Thanks for watching. In the comments, feel free to give me some advice. I am new not only to the Bronco community, but to the car community. Also, tell me all of your Bronco stories, and keep working. Maybe you're just a few days away from that project breakthrough. Good luck, and have fun.